And Home Minister of India P Chidambaram has finally been taken into custody after what has been more than 24 hours of drama and very high drama that we saw. These are live images from the heart of the national capital. This is Jorbagh in Delhi, very close to the seat of power, and this is the car in which I'm assuming the former minister is going to be taken. He is going to be in CBI custody. These are Congress workers who've been trying to block agencies from doing their job. And you see the press being caught up in this melee right outside P Chidambaram's house. He was at the Congress headquarters in New Delhi where he addressed a press conference. The CBI officials and a team of them were present there, but they were not allowed to discharge their duties because Congress workers reportedly blocked their path and did not allow the arrest or any action for that matter against P Chidambaram. He finally made his way to his house in Jorbagh, which is close by, and the CBI team followed him. The doors were shut. They finally had to scale the walls of his house to get to the former minister. You see the kind of police presence. This is unprecedented. An arrest on prime-time television being broadcast live across the country, and Congress workers acting like hooligans, some of them, blocking agencies from discharging their duties. And this is happening in plain view of cameras. He's been taken into custody. Let me correct myself. I cannot confirm if this is an arrest, but he has been taken into custody, the former minister, in the INX Media case. Less than an hour back, he came in front of the cameras. He resurfaced after going missing, quote unquote, for more than 24 hours. Remember, the High Court had refused him anticipatory bail yesterday. And since then, Mr. P Chidambaram was nowhere to be seen. There was a lot of suspense today as his lawyers tried repeatedly to get the Supreme Court to give him some relief. That did not happen. The Supreme Court has posted the matter for hearing on Friday, that is 2 days from now. In the meantime, P Chidambaram was vulnerable to arrest. He has now been taken into custody. And he resurfaced earlier this evening to address the press, and he made some very strong statements, not very convincing, I have to say, where he said that there are no charges against him and his conscience is clear, and he was not running away from the law. He was, in fact, seeking refuge under the law. He was seeking recourse through the law, and we've seen high drama unfold since then. P Chidambaram, there you see him in the car, being escorted by security agencies. We have with us Mr. Vikas Singh, Additional Solicitor General, on the phone line. Mr. Singh, how do you view these developments?
Well, this was all foreground, but once the High Court had rejected the anticipatory bail and the matter was to be heard in the Supreme Court by Friday, it was impossible for a person of Chidambaram's, stature and his known face to, have hidden for these 3 days and not been arrested. So this was foregone because the ED and the CBI would be gunning for him. But I'm a little unhappy in the way in which the court has, dealt with this matter, because I know of a matter where once the High Court passed an order at 10:30 in the morning, and 10:35 the Solicitor General mentions and the Supreme Court passes a stay order. So that's the speed at which they work when the government is in appeal. And that same kind of speed should be shown when a common man, I'm not the person had protection from the High Court for 18 months, and when he says, give me 3 more days protection to move the Supreme Court.
But where I disagree is the fact that Mr. Chidambaram by no stretch of the imagination is a common man. He's a member of parliament, a former minister, a man who understands the law, a man who understands the system like the back of his hand. And had the court in my limited view, made an exception for him and expedited this process, then it would have led to the question on what happens when a rape victim from Unnao appeals to the agencies for succor and does not get it and ends up losing her life. But when a former minister needs it, then the entire machinery moves to expedite a case. That is my limited point. But having said that, we are looking at these images, sir, from outside Mr. P Chidambaram's residence, and we see some political workers trying to protest. And the way this has all happened, the way he went missing, quote unquote, and then reappeared to address the press and say things like there are no charges against him. What do you think is being attempted here?
Well, now, of course, that he's being arrested, the Congress party will try to take full political mileage out of it. And with this kind of a huge drubbing at the polls, I don't think really they can get much sympathy, because the common man really doesn't, look up to Mr. Chidambaram as a very clean and honest politician. So that I don't think the sympathy they will have. And it may be some kind of a karma will be coming back to him. Of course, that's his personal karma. I don't want to comment on that. But as a political party, of course, they will try to take full advantage of this arrest and say that this is a political vendetta. But I'm not worried about the political vendetta part. I mean, definitely it like try to take its revenge or whatever. But the judiciary should not get involved in this. I mean, that is something which is a little worrisome. And if the judiciary should give a proper hearing, at least he should have been heard by the Supreme Court today itself in the morning. And you reject his bail. I don't see if you feel that he doesn't have a case, reject his bail. But don't get him arrested in this manner, that he is denied a hearing, and because of that denial he is arrested. That is something which will disturb.
Right. You're, of course, entitled to your opinion, and we'll leave that matter there. But I want to now ask you, as the Additional Solicitor General in the Supreme Court, how do you believe legally the odds stack against Mr. Chidambaram?
Well, I am not personally the Additional Solicitor General anymore. I used to be some time back. And as far as the odds are concerned, I personally feel when this matter goes for trial, I don't see a case of conviction being made out. I don't know whether you are aware what this case is all about. This case is of a FIPV, this particular case is of an FIPV investment being made in India. When the approval was for a smaller amount, a larger amount came, and a post-facto approval to that. Now, we are all over the world wanting investment to come into India, and this investment came into infrastructure. So really speaking, to say that you gave an FIPV approval and that approval is such a huge conspiracy that somebody should be arrested for that, I mean, this is something which is, according to me, quite a witch hunt. I'm sure the CBI and the ED would have clear cases or should have clear cases against him. But they could have nailed him on the investment that he's made abroad, which has been, coming out in the media of these tennis courts or whatever, these tennis clubs and those villas and those houses. But this kind of a case will result in conviction. I don't think that is a possibility.
Right. Mr. Singh, thanks very much for joining us, sir, and for sharing your perspective on this. The wheels have been set in motion, and we'll have to see how this case proceeds from here on. But this has been a dramatic day. At the risk of sounding repetitive, I have to say those images leave very little to the imagination. These are Congress workers, protesters, trying to prevent the agencies, the CBI officials and the policemen from discharging their duty case as a legal matter, and the Congress is going to try, as Mr. Singh also said, to draw some sort of political mileage out of it. Rahul Gandhi were to be termed as political vendetta. That statement from the observations from the court make for very interesting to P Chidambaram. And one was the gravity of the offence. The second was the evasive replies given by Mr. Chidambaram to the questions put petitioner. He's been called the kingpin, the key conspirator in this case by the court. How this case and developments in India in general. But this is what we can tell you right now. P Chidambaram's son, they're making a statement. Let's listen.
Union Minister, your father, P Chidambaram, has been finally.
I think your question is wrong. What do you mean by finally? You know, this is a child in 2017. I have been raided 4 times. Nobody in the history of India has been raided 4 times. I am the only person who's been raided 4 times. I've appeared before agencies over 20 times. And each time I've spent over 10 hours. I was also the guest of the CBI, so I'm quite aware of their procedures and their accommodations. I was with them for 11 days. And still, for events which happened in 2008, for which they filed an FIR in 2017, and in August of 2019, they still don't have a charge sheet, which means there is no case. This whole thing is being done only for theatrics and for voyeurism, for the pleasure of a few, and to divert the attention of the people of India from the serious issues. So this is a completely trumped up, made for television, made for media kind of a spectacle. One at a time, I'll answer your question. நான் சொல்றேனே, இந்த அரசாங்கம் முழுக்க காழ்ப்புணர்ச்சி காரணத்தால் எந்த ஒரு சம்பந்தமும் இல்லாம ஒரு ஜோடிச்ச வழக்கை உருவாக்கி அந்த வழக்கில் சம்பவங்கள் எல்லாம் 2008ஆம் ஆண்டு நடந்ததாக அவர்கள் சொல்கிறார்கள். அதற்காக 2017ஆம் ஆண்டுல எஃப்ஐஆர் போடுறாங்க. அதாவது அப்போ 9 வருஷம் கழிச்சு எஃப்ஐஆர் போடுறாங்க. அந்த எஃப்ஐஆர் போட்டுட்டு என்ன 4 தடவை ரெய்ட் பண்ணியாச்சு. இந்தியாவிலேயே யாரையுமே 4 தடவை ரெய்ட் பண்ணதே கிடையாது. 20 தடவை எனக்கு சம்மன் கொடுத்தாச்சு. ஒரு சம்மனுக்கும் நான் 10 மணி நேரம் அவங்களுக்கு முன்னாடி போய் ஆஜராயிருக்கேன். சிபிஐயோட விருந்தாளியா 11 நாளும் இருந்திருக்கிறேன். இதுக்கப்புறமும் இன்னும் சார்ஜ் ஷீட்டே போடலையே. இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் சார்ஜ் ஷீட்டே கிடையாது. முழுக்க யாரையோ திருப்திப்படுத்துறதுக்கு.
Right, P Chidambaram speaking, Karthi Chidambaram, his son, speaking to the press after the arrest, saying that this is vendetta, this is for the voyeuristic pleasure of a few. These are his words. And he says that this is an attempt to divert attention from the more serious issues. This has been their statement, and this has been the Congress Party's position as well.